Welcome to Trading Lounge and the US indices for Thursday, June 16. I'm just going to stay on the intraday, and on Monday we'll have a look at the bigger picture and all the different counts, and we'll weed through them and so on and so on. But for today, we just really want to stay in this space. So there's two important things. One of them is that, well, if we look at wave 4 up here, we've got wave 1, 2, and we've been looking down for wave 3, back for wave 4, and then we're looking down for wave 5 of 1, or we can have the low, the all-time low in the market. Now, we all have opinions and they can get us into trouble. So what we'll do is we'll go on the basis that this can be a low in the market. And if that is the case, then at what point would that confirm? Well, if from that high to this low here, I'm just taking it I'm just working with group 2 here because the market's in group 2. So it'll say 36.50. The extension was in wave 3, so it means wave 1 and wave 5 will be roughly the same length. Pinch of salt on that. So you could probably take the length of wave 4 here and add 60%. So we'll probably be down here somewhere anyway for that. From that high to that low, the 4,000 is roughly the 61.8%. It's not spot on, but we'll make adjustments. So if the 4,000 here becomes the support with a classic trading levels pattern to the upside, then we will look at that being in place at that point. But any failure at this point, and then we'll be looking at it coming further down, so likely to come further down. Now, when we look at the market like this here, the market's come down from over here, so it's been trending down. It's given us some type of corrective pattern at this level here, well, a continuation pattern, if you will, as well. So it's normal for the market to come down, bounce off the big number, go back up and run out of steam and then drop. And when it drops, it likes to come back up and retest it. And then if it's going to fail, it will fail and then it'll drop down again. So that's the basic pathway for it. So it's probably likely that we will have wave 1 down here, wave 5 of 1, and then have an ABC back here for this. So I put the splash page as being corrective, but probably I should have put it being as bearish, because we need to look at this wave 5 coming into play. So if we go to short the market later on in our journey, under wave B will be the safe short trade, because we'll have an impulse wave here, and if that corrective wave is breached at that point, then we know that the market's coming down. But of course, we will be looking at different ways to short in this space here as well. So probably further over here, we'll be looking at the first impulse wave to the downside. And then there'll be an ABC pattern over here for this, and we'll use a classic trading levels pattern depending on what price it's at, and then we can look to build in smaller trades here as we go, so we can manage that exposure through all of that. But we'll get to that when we get to that. We're still a long way from all of that, but yeah, in a nutshell, we can have wave 5 low into place here, and that's the end of it, but we would need 4,000 as a tested support to validate that. Otherwise, we need to look at it as wave 1, and we'll go back for wave 2, and we'll go down again. It is possible another count to have this as an A wave and a B wave and a C wave to come down here, and that would be the end of it as well, but that's another story. We don't need to go there. We are looking to short this market over this side. That's been our gig. We can play around with things in between all of this. We talked about being long in these markets, have a bit of a crack at all of that. So anyway, that's really where we are. So there's no change in anything. We can just keep, monitoring it and looking at it and so on and so on. There are, a few things happening in the options market later this week, I think. Folks have been mentioning triple witching or quad witching, and I don't know if the Feds I haven't even read the news. I think the Feds could have spoken yesterday as well about their rates. I don't know if they put them up, but I mean a lot of that Fed stuff has been sort of priced into the market as well. Buy the rumor, sell the fact type of thing. Anyway, let's move on to the NASDAQ, and It's the same story here. We're just considering this wave 4 up here with 1 and 2 here, and then down for wave 3, and we're looking for wave 4 to pull back. Pull back a reasonable way. Let's just check on that, just roughly here, see where we are. A little bit shy of the 38.2% retracement level. Couldn't quite cover that gap there either, over just over here on that, in that space there. So that will be something for us to look at over on this side over here. The futures market likes to cover gaps. So anyway, we'll keep an eye on that. But otherwise, yeah, the wave 4 is just about reached its thing here. If you wanted to short this here, like, you have to be careful, because wave 4s are gnarly little critters, and they, you know, can get pretty complicated. I can see that we've got little 1, 2, 3, 4, and probably spike on 5 ABC pattern here, but I'm still left with 3 waves up here, so I'm left scratching my head a little bit here of what's going on here. So we could still get further upside. If I was going to short this, I would need a classic trading levels pattern using that 11,500 here to look to the downside. I'd need it as a retested resistance over here, then I'd be looking for the short over here for that. But yeah, and I'll just be coming down into group 1 here. The market's going to be very choppy coming into 300, 200 and 100, may not even get to 11,000. If it does get to 11,000, the 50-60% retracement levels back up at the 12,000. So in regards to numbers, the 11,000 is important, 12,000 is important. They're the biggest numbers in this area, but the 11,500 is the medium level, and that carries more weight than the 12 and the 11. The 11 and the 12 are good for tops and bottoms, but the balance of the correction will play out across this level here, and eventually we'll get it over here. We'll be shorting all through here once this occurs. We'll try to get some positions up here as well if that's going to be the case, but we've got a long way to go before all this is done. It's the 16th now, 16th, and was 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th. Yeah, so it's probably land was as been mentioned by a few folks. The solstice is coming up in June, so that might be a nice sort of turning point for this one or this one. Yeah, that's it really for the NASDAQ. There's not really, like I said, we didn't really want to get involved in a lot of this over here for this, you know. It's really way over here that we want, you know. If you, it's kind of like, I guess, in a way, it's a bit like when you think about it, say when this came down here, right? So then this came up to here. So this low here is like this low. And then we're going up here for the wave 4, going up for the wave 4. Then we've got to come down for the wave 5 here. And then we've got to have some sort of other move back up here, you know. So that's kind of where we are in the picture. We kind of want to get it up here somewhere over here, you know. That's kind of what we're looking at really for this. And once again, this is just, well, you can see the 11,500 is really important, but so is the 12, and, you know, so on. But yeah, it's just a weird number, but we're all a little weird. So let's move on to the Russell. So we talked about the Russell going long here, so I'm just going to remove that long trade there. We talked about it in detail because we had, when we looked at this yesterday, we had a little impulse wave just coming up here, and our target was the 1750. So I don't, well, we got there anyway, but I don't know if you would have survived this here. That's pretty emotional, I guess. But anyway, that's wave 4s, you know. They're like I said, they're gnarly little critters, and they can chop you up. It's kind of interesting, really, because I'm wondering if the Feds have actually spoken, because there's this really weird little pattern going on here. I got 5 waves in here, but then I'm left with this. With this, I'm not quite sure what that is. I'm also looking at, this is also looking impulsive to the downside here. So yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, all of this I understand. That's all cool, and I understand it to that point right here. But I'm just a bit unsure about this little dude here hanging off the edge. But yeah, it does look a little bit impulsive coming down here. If you wanted to short this down at this point here, then put the stop above the top here. But the other thing you can do is the 1720 here, the number 2, because we're in group 1 of 1700. If the 20 here becomes the retested resistance, then you could look at coming. You could get a very small position under there, one under the 10, and then under the 17 here. Then you got the 1680, 70, 1672, but it's all part of group 2, and then the 1665 at that point. That's all part of group 2 here. But also too, this level here, this 1650, another weird number. That's going to carry a fair bit of weight in the game as well when we come into this space, and we'll be able to use that nicely. But yeah, look, that's where the Russell is here. So yeah, once again, we want to be over here to be looking, to building in short positions over here. And there'll be very small positions, and we'll just keep building and building and building, and we have to watch for the rallies. And anyway, lots of work to be done. Not so easy. Anyway, that's it. So I'll leave it at that. But yeah, look, we're on track. And like I say, tomorrow we'll talk about what happens in this space. Is wave 4 over? Have we got wave 5 in place? Will we be looking at Friday and Monday being sort of bullish into this space? And then midweek we'll see weakness and rolling over. So anyway, let's hope it all goes on track and we can get onto this short trade here. But we won't marry that. We'll be mindful of everything. Alrighty, I'll leave it at that. Cheers.